It is rare that a fighter with a negative record in his professional career becomes known to the whole world and even gains a lot of fans. The negative record, 12-19 in kickboxing and 12-20-1 in mixed martial arts, this American heavyweight is known to the entire martial arts fandom. We are talking about the American athlete, Bob Sappa, nicknamed The Beast. Possessing outstanding dimensions and at the same time an athletic physique, he skillfully exploited the artistic image of the Beast. He compensated for his shortcomings in technique with great physical strength and simply demolished his opponents from the ring. The incredible charisma of this big guy made him popular, and the biggest promotions wanted to see Bob in their tournaments. Let's now see his best knockout wins. After an unsuccessful career in American football, which Bob played as a student, he competed in wrestling. But even there, his career was in question, as the WCW promotion, where he had signed a contract, ceased to exist. But it was there that Sapp met the famous kickboxer Sam Greco, who had a great influence on the future fate of the American The Beast. He saw fighting potential in a young heavyweight and began to prepare him for real fights. In 2002, Bob won a television boxing show, a recording of which Greco showed to the owner of the world's largest K1 kickboxing promotion in Japan, Kazuyoshi Ishii. And in the same year, Sapp signed a contract with the Japanese organization. In his debut match in June 2002, in K1, the American Beast lost by disqualification for finishing off a fallen opponent. With this fierce fighting, he confirmed his nickname and gained a lot of fans. A few months later, he returned to the ring to fight with experienced French kickboxer Cyril Abidi, nicknamed Marseille's Bad Boy. The Frenchman alternated victories and defeats, but was known for his 2 early victories over the famous kickboxer Peter Arts. After receiving a few slaps from the trainer to get him in the fighting mood, Sapp started the round. He pounced on the Frenchman, pinned him in the corner, and turned on the threshing machine with hooks. Abidi felt the inhuman power of the American, and he had no choice but to cover himself with his hands and turn his back on Bob. Marseille's Bad Boy missed a lot of hard hits. At the 30th second, Sapp knocked Cyril down with a powerful uppercut. The Frenchman continued and even landed a good deuce of direct blows, but he could not cope with the onslaught of the Beast. Bob again pinned his opponent in the corner and unleashed a hail of heavy blows, including on the back of his head, from which Abidi became indignant. The Marseille Bad Boy continued again, and after a knockdown, received a hard blow to the back of the head, which knocked him to the ground. The referee stopped the fight in favor of the American. Cyril Abidi continued to alternate wins and losses and hung up his gloves in 2007 with a 25-16 record. Already on to the next fight. At the opening of the K1 World Grand Prix 2002, Sapp's opponent was the titled Dutchman, Ernesto Host, nicknamed Mr. Perfection. A 3-time K1 Grand Prix champion, Muay Thai and kickboxing world champion, was a big star in the K1 promotion. Mr. Perfection, in the last 23 fights, lost only once, and then Jerome LeBanner. After the gong, Bob attacked his opponent with sweeping but strong blows. Host tried to defend the counterattack. He threw a lot of low kicks that left Sapp with a limp. In the exchange of blows, both fighters hit. Ernesto was more accurate, but the Beast's punches were much stronger. At the last minute, Bob pinned the Dutchman in the corner of the ring and unleashed a hail of blows on him. Host missed several heavy punches and found himself on the ground. Ernesto Host stood up again and Bob pinned him in the corner and began to shoot him with his heavy punches. The Dutchman was saved by the gong and the referee because the Beast did not want to stop his punching mill. Mr. Perfection did not go to the second round due to a huge cut. Bob Sapp won via TKO due to the doctor's decision to stop the fight. 2 months later, in the quarterfinals of the K1 Grand Prix 2002, the American-Dutch revenge took place. After the gong, Bob rushed to the attack, but the experienced Dutchman began to throw powerful low kicks on the way out. Host, after the first fight with the American, concluded that low kicks are effective and should be included in the game plan. After a dozen of tight lows, Sapp slowed down. In skirmishes in the arms, both fighters hit, but Ernesto Host was more accurate. And in the second minute, the Dutchman knocked Bob down with an uppercut to the liver. Sapp continued, but was visibly tired and slowed down. Host continued to handle the opponent with punches and kicks until the end of the round. The Dutchman took the first round with a margin. After the gong, the Beast ran at his opponent again, but Mr. Perfection got away and counterattacked with combinations. Bob landed a powerful right hook, pinning Ernesto near the ropes. And a little later, he felled the Dutchman to the ground with a deuce of hooks. Host continued, but missed a few heavy punches through the block. He recovered a bit and took the lead. He struck a good series of hooks to the head and hit the American in the body. But then the Beast became active, pinned Host in the corner, and turned on his thrashing machine. With 7 seconds left in the round, the referee stopped the fight due to the passive defense of Ernesto Host. Bob's second victory over the great Ernesto Host, and Mr. Perfection still became the winner of the Grand Prix then, having reached the semifinals due to Sapp's injury and defeating Jerome LeBanner in the final fight in a rematch. In August 2003, Bob Sapp returned to the ring again to fight American fighter Kimo Leopoldo in Las Vegas. He held a black belt in Taekwondo, had 10 victories in MMA, and 2 months prior, he choked out Tank Abbott with a triangle at UFC 43. Kimo was confident that he would easily pass the budding heavyweight. Sapp fought outside of Japan for the first time, and the fighters put up a controversial and tough fight. As was tradition, Sapp pressed and showered with sweeping hooks. Kimo defended himself and tried to counterattack with hooks himself. It became noticeable that kicks appeared in the arsenal of the Beast. Middle kicks, low kicks, as well as knee strikes. At the end of the second minute, Leopoldo shook Bob with a left hook and brought down a series of finishing hooks, but he ran into an oncoming right cross and was knocked down. Kimo continued and immediately responded by knocking down his opponent with a jab to the jaw. It was evident that Sapp had not fully recovered, but the referee allowed the fight to continue. The gong sounded, and it was probably the best sound for Bob at the time. There was a funny case when Sapp slightly delayed the exit to the second round, and Leopoldo thought that the Beast had given up and threw his hands up in victory, but it turned out that it was a timeout. At the beginning of the second round, Kimo was knocked down, stumbling on a counterpunch from SAPP. He stood up, but again missed several solid blows from the Beast running at him. Bob pressed the opponent to the ropes and hit a casual right hook to the head, and then immediately knocked out Kimo with the same blow to the back of the head. Despite Kimo's loss, the Las Vegas audience chanted his name and booed SAPP for illegal punches. Leopoldo had only 3 fights in professional kickboxing and lost every time. On New Year's Eve 2004, the Beast had no time for celebration because he entered the ring of the K1 Premium 2003 Dynamite Tournament against the Hawaiian sumo wrestler, Akebono. He was one of the few SAPP rivals who outsized him. The Hawaiian was 6'8", weighing 484 pounds, and had a successful career in sumo. This was his professional kickboxing debut. After the gong, the fighters grappled in the clinch and tried to hit each other. At the end of the first minute, there was a good attack by Akebono. But in the exchange of blows, Bob was still more accurate. And at the last minute, he knocked down the Hawaiian with a blow to the head. Akebono got up, but was knocked down again after a series of hooks from SAPP. The sumo wrestler got up again, but in vain, because the powerful right cross of the Beast knocked him out a few seconds before the end of the round. Akebono and Bob SAPP would meet again in a rematch, but more on that later. 3 months later, Bob SAPP fought American mixed martial artist Seth Petrozelli. It was his debut kickboxing match. Petrozelli had been quite successful in MMA since 2000 and went on a series of 6 victories in a row. And in the last fight, he defeated the famous Dan Severn. Seth got off to a good start with a powerful front kick and took Bob down with a right hook in the first seconds of the round. SAPP got up and started pressing. Petrozelli met him with a front kick and tried to defend against the opponent's thrasher. And suddenly, after a thrown blow, he grabbed his hand and writhed in pain. Seth was injured, but didn't want to give up. Despite this, the referee stopped the fight and gave the victory to the Beast. Seth Petrozelli had only 3 fights in his professional kickboxing career, losing every time. Exactly 12 years after their first fight, Bob SAPP and Hawaiian Akebono had a rematch at the Rizin Fighting Federation 2 tournament, according to the rules of shootboxing. The Beast had been on hiatus for over 2 years, but it's no match for Akebono, who had last competed in real fights 9 years prior. The Hawaiian had a total of 9 fights in professional kickboxing and won only once, and in MMA, he lost in all 4 fights. After the gong, Akebono pressed and tried to fight in the standing position. Bob made a good attack with hooks, but the sumo wrestler turned the fight into a clinch. Bob cut his opponent's head with one of his hooks. The Beast ended the round by pinning Akebono in the corner and shooting him with multiple right hooks to the head. The second round began with a clinch, where the fighters took turns shooting each other with punches. SAPP hit more accurately and harder. The referee interrupted the fight to assess the condition of Akebono's cut, and at 49 seconds, stopped this confrontation in favor of Bob SAPP. This was the last fight of Akebono's career. Bob the Beast SAPP didn't have much success in mixed martial arts. but he managed to earn considerable fame thanks to his chic charisma. Now Bob is 48 years old, and he has quit sports. SAPP has never hidden, both in theater and the ring, is to show the public a show, and he was good at it. Bob is loved and hated, but there is something about him that makes you want to watch his fights again and again. If you enjoyed this video, please put a like, leave your comments, and press the bell icon to avoid missing the next video. And if you watch this video clip without a subscription, sign up for the channel right now. See you in the next video.